Welcome back to the Happy Hour. Our favorite lawyer, Steve Moskowitz, is here with us on the show, as he is every Thursday.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show again. Things are getting ugly out there in Louisville. A lot of heads have rolled in the wake of this pay-to-play recruiting scandal involving Adidas. As we know, Rick Pitino's contract terminated despite the fact that he took a lie detector test and tried to have that save his job. Things are getting nasty between the fired athletic director, Tom Jurich, and the school. In their letter of termination to him, they basically accused him of bullying, which was interesting, and intimidation, and not really a professional conduct, among other things, and a disregard for NCAA rules. And then the letter went public, and it allowed Jurich and his lawyers to come back at the school. And obviously, he's trying to get his money back.
Oh, absolutely.
This is all about that. But
Usually
for these claims, and the two sides tossing around all these accusations, how hard is it going to be for him to get that money back and to prove that the school is, defaming him in a sense?
They're not defaming him. The school's going to win, and the bottom line is they fired him for cause, and they had just cause. Basically, it's like if an employee takes a kickback, that's a good reason to be fired, or breaks rules, or causes problems. And part of that letter was, that'll be an exhibit in the case if it goes to trial, where they say, look, there's a reason why you got fired, and here it is, and here it is, and here it is. And obviously, coming from a school and lawyers, it's polite language for expletive deleted, no, we're not going to pay you. And I believe ultimately the school is going to prevail.
Does the school have a greater impetus to leak the letter, or does Jurich's lawyer or lawyers have a greater impetus, maybe trying to play not to the court necessarily, but to boosters at Louisville who didn't want him fired? Is that equally plausible or no?
Well, anything's possible, but the school is saying, look, this was a public records request. We didn't smear anybody. We had to turn this over. It's like in a lawsuit. There's all kinds of... A lot of times the reason people settle is because they don't want things coming out in discovery that you could talk about on this show. So if there's going to be any settlement at all, because, well, we don't want you to talk about this and this. We'll give you some money. But here, I think the school is going to say, no, you're not getting paid. You're a bad guy.
Is this how the Rick Pitino lawsuit, which is going to be right up the street, going to play out as well?
Most likely that'll be my guess, yes.
Why is it that lie detector tests, why do they not work in a court of law?
Because the courts say they're not reliable enough. And there have been a lot of studies that show you can beat them. And also, if the examiner is told, and these have been done all the time, where they say, I think I have an employee stealing from me, and I think it's John. Do the lie detector test. And they do the test over and over again. But they're really testing the machine. They say, I think it was Mary stealing from me. And most of the time, yeah, it was Mary. It was John. So the courts say they're not reliable enough. That's why they won't allow them.
Is there any kind of way to test somebody's veracity through science? Or is it really just a matter of he looks guilty to me?
Law is not dealing with science. At the moment, there's nothing recognized that's that secure, because the problem is sometimes people lie and get away with it. So the basic engine of truth, as it's called, is a jury looks at you and says, you're lying, you're telling the truth, or vice versa.
In another case that's kind of interesting, UFC middleweight champion Michael Bisping has been charged by a 19-year-old college student for allegedly choking him during a gym altercation 3 months ago in California. The interesting thing is that the plaintiff waited 3 months to file this. He's also naming 24-Hour Fitness as a defendant, as well as the UFC and their parent company, sure. IMG. When you're talking about a trained fighter, though, his training and his ability to do what he does, can he be considered like assault with a deadly weapon or anything like that?
Absolutely. And depending on the states, it's almost like if he pulled out a handgun. That guy literally could kill him. And the bottom line is, I think it was just a roid rage. You know, how dare you touch my weights? But the problem is everybody in the chain, he's going to say, look, the place should have protected me and this and that. This is one, if that fighter has any brains at all, he's going to pull out his checkbook, have a confidentiality agreement, and then walk away from it.
Kelly made reference to the 3 months between the alleged incident and the filing. Is that normal? I mean, does it typically take that long to go from incident to filing?
Usually it takes longer because one of the things lawyers will tell you is, first, we want you to be examined by a doctor. Let's see what happened. For example, there may be physical injuries, psychological injuries. So the average time is usually about a year where the lawyer says, let's see what's happened, because the worse your injuries, the more your recovery.
So then, if this is such a relatively short time, is that a tell?
Not really. What happens is an individual lawyer is going to make a decision with his client. Had he gone to another lawyer, some other lawyer may say wait longer. Somebody else says no, I think we'll go now. It's a matter of judgment. And again, law isn't science. It's an art, and people make a decision. And you can have two really good lawyers. One guy say, let's do it today. Another guy says, let's wait another 6 months.
Okay. All right, Steve. As always, appreciate the
Always
time.
a pleasure. Thanks.
Still to come on Happy Hour, the Warriors. They escaped last night with a win over the Raptors, avoiding going 0-2 at home to start the season. But it came in the final seconds after their defense left a lot to be desired. We are going to discuss what is wrong on D next on Happy Hour.